So he may or may not.
Did anybody here?
Yes. Yes, no, yes, and yes. But I've done it.
Call meeting in March 4th. Order, rise for science and then pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America.
and one nation,
And God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call.
Councilmember Alexander.
Can you hear us? Okay.
Councilmember Brannan. Here. Councilmember Brinker.
Here.
Councilmember Conklin.
Here.
Councilmember Missouri.
Here.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Here.
Mayor Long.
Here. Approval of the minutes from the February 26th, 2024 regular meeting.
I move approval.
Second.
Motion on the floor, second, any further discussion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Alexander.
Yes.
Councilmember Brannan. Yes. Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yeah.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. Okay, public comments from residents and city taxpayers. Before we get started here, I think I know the reason most of you are here, so we'll lay this down a little bit. Assuming that most of you were here about the topic that we discussed last week and voted on. We hear you and listen to your comments. We can't change anything tonight. For anything to change, one of the members that voted for it would have to make a motion to reconsider. If that motion passed, then it would be put on the agenda in another meeting so that everyone knew that it was going to be decided upon. So we're clear on the process on how it would have to occur. We'll give you time to speak, and if it's just reiterating what someone else already said, we're gonna move along. If you have other stuff to give, then that's fine. Okay, so if you have something, raise your hand, please, and state your name and where do you live, please.
Bill Stankwitz, I live on Bellefonte Avenue here in Lock Haven, and I would like to express my appreciation for the city council for the vote last meeting to allow the erection of the three crosses and the Christian flag to be flown. On behalf of the Christian community, we appreciate what you have done. Thank you.
Council, I'm here to express my concern regarding the vote from last meeting regarding Faith Month flags that were approved for two. I'm speaking as a queer person and as the president of the Pride Alliance. And I do realize that I have other ties to the community. I'm not here for that. When I requested the Pride flag last year, it was twofold. One, it was to show the many, many queer people in this town that they are seen. Two, it was so that when people come through this town, they know that we are inclusive. Let me explain the Pride flag a little bit. It represents people inside the community and outside the LGBTQ community. It represents every race, religion, ethnicity, orientation, and identity. The only people it does not represent are people who are homophobic. A homophobe is not exactly someone who is afraid of gay people, but those who have a prejudice or hatred towards us. Collectively, we have no issue with Christians, the flag, or the church. There are millions of queer Christians. But as I stated last week, Faith Month was created out of hate. This homophobic group, Concerned Women for America, has hijacked this well-intended flag and your Christian faith. The Concerned Women for America design for Faith Month is well documented and shared as a counteraction to seeing the pride flag. So when that flag flies, it has ill intent behind it. And every queer person in this town feels marginalized because of it. And the logic of we approved the pride flag, so we have to approve X flag is illogical. Would you approve a KKK flag, an Al-Qaeda flag, a Nazi flag? Me standing up to hate for queer people is not an agenda. Let me be very clear. And not to be dramatic, but it is survival for me, my family, and the many, many queer people that are in this town. My only agenda is to live in a world where we are not targets. And I can assure you there is hate here. In 2020, when the rainbows were painted on the stop bars, I personally received several threats. And a fragile, triggered man told me that I should be raped straight. Because of some color on the streets, because women love women and men love men. So my role as the president of the Pride Alliance is to advocate against hate and the prejudice to the queer people in this county, this city included. The only way to stop hate is to stand up to it, and doing nothing as a minority is only serving the majority. Thank you.
Please state your name and where you live, please.
My name is excuse me, my name is Elsa Winch, and I live on Water Street here in Lock Haven. So I am a minority as well as Cree. I'm a person of strong faith. I am Jewish, and I am comfortable and secure in my beliefs. I am respectful of other people's beliefs, as I hope that other people of faith are of mine. But this does not mean I'm reluctant to challenge inaccurate or offensive beliefs of religious or political organizations that hurt other people in my community or my family. It is not right for council to favor a request that the city fly a Christian flag for Faith Month in April. Faith Month is an initiative sponsored by the Concerned Women of America that elevates Christian belief policy over all others as a political cause. CWA makes no bones about condemning the existence, the legal rights, access to health care, and the marginalization of LGBTQ individuals and families, both publicly and in writing. This initiative is not right on so many levels, but primarily because the CWA is using the power of our city government to force their hateful homophobic rhetoric on the rest of us. It is my view that the city's flag policy should even be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. A city flag policy should not, 1, serve any religious purpose, 2, promote or favor any set political or religious views, and 3, should promote inclusion, diversity, and community. There are many neighborhoods, boroughs, and townships that make up the city of Lock Haven. They're the backbone of our community. These communities make the quality of our life better. Thank you very much.
My name is Betty Brendel, and I've lived in Woodward Township for 46 years, going on 47. I've worked in the area for many of those years. Just a little background, I grew up working alongside my siblings in my parents' small town grocery store and gas station. And we learned at an early age to respect and greet each customer with a smile, and to assist them in their shopping experience in our little store. And during the summer, interesting people would come in out of town and even from other states to go fishing or camping or to rent cabins nearby. Some of those folks would speak with fascinating accents and would have hard to pronounce and spell names that didn't look like me or my cousins. Our store would transform them into an information center for those out-of-towners, meeting their needs for driving directions, for example, or medical information, or just recommendation for a plumber. Year after year, many of those visitors would return to vacation in our area, and they come back to our family store because we always made them feel welcome, and they would tell us so. And they, in turn, helped our family's business thrive over the years. By comparison, the people of Lock Haven area and our visitors, from my perspective, are a much more diverse group of people than those of my own small hometown. Just consider all of the varied groups who are already here or who will be visiting throughout the year. And this is not a complete list by any means, but my husband and I try to think how many different groups are here. The Commonwealth University students and their families, university and high school sports team come to visit, business groups, hunters, boaters, hikers, bikers, birders, fishermen, hang gliders, and of course, aviators. And then we have the misguided folks who come off Route 80 and need something to eat, drink, and maybe a hotel. So I say, let them all know that Lock Haven area businesses, shops, and restaurants are ready to serve them, no matter where they come from. Let's take this opportunity to place an April flag in Triangle Park that proudly and clearly sends this message. Welcome to Lock Haven. Our doors are open, not just to some, but to all. Thank you.
Please state your name and where you live.
Bonnie Pepper, 410 South Fairview Street, Lock Haven, PA. I'd like to play a video for some that have not seen what I'm talking about.
Oh, you're on the agenda, Bonnie. Can we wait for you when you're on the
Oh, I
agenda?
have to wait.
It's okay. No, just trying to keep the things arranged here, okay? Thank you, Bonnie. We'll call on you when it's time. Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Rose Rieger, and I'm from Lock Haven also, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. I know it's not easy to be sitting where you're sitting, and I know you can't know everything or know every group that comes before you. And when it's a local group, it's wonderful to represent them. And each group that comes to you is passionate. We have to respect that. We have to know that they are passionate. However, and while also this flag, I've been informed by many people, this flag comes from the 1890s and it does represent Christianity. It was created by children in Brooklyn, and it was agreed upon by many different churches, and it represents the church. However, and I would love to hear, if you folks are here for that, I'd like to hear from you. It seems to me that this group, the CWA, has more or less usurped this flag. And this group, to me, at least smacks a bit of hate. And I know they're passionate about what they believe, but they believe it seems to me that they believe it to the point that it infringes on the freedoms of others. And I know your policy, I know you can't pick and choose and say no to something, or you've already made a decision and there's a procedure to change that decision. But if this is going to stand, then to me, it seems like we would be better off not to have this policy. Because some people are highly offended and hurt by this. Other people are passionate and they're uplifted by this. That's important. I believe in faith and Christianity, but I believe in faith and Christianity that expounds love and helping people and lifting everyone up, not just a select few. And the other thing is, why we make such a public display of one group of people and one opinion, that represents Clinton County. And we are trying to build our tourist population, and we are trying to show that Clinton County is a welcoming place. And perhaps this isn't the best idea because it's not welcoming to some. And it's very offensive and painful to some, not just one group, but to a number of groups. And with our street events and the tourism and the nature, we want everyone to feel welcome. And with this display, some people will not feel welcome. So perhaps this policy isn't working for the majority. I'm not saying it's totally wrong, I'm just saying it may not be the message we want to send. So there we go. Thank you.
Anyone else? Renee?
I'm Juno Olson. I live on Fairview Street. I just want to say that I am deeply disappointed in those who voted yes for the flag last meeting, as a lot of people do pass by Triangle Park and will see that flag. And even though it is called Faith Month, it is not promoting faith, it is promoting Christianity. And there are many different faith groups in Lock Haven that this will not represent, and it will promote hate towards the people that see it, and others will feel unwelcome. And I will not be surprised if this opens up the city for a lawsuit.
Anyone else? Anyone on council out of it?
Last week, while I was out of town, this council voted on a use request for a Christian display and flag to be placed in Triangle Park, what we are all talking about. The passing of this was disappointing to me for several reasons. First, I believe that church and state should always be separate. The display of religion on public property can appear to be a government endorsement of religion, which is against the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. Churches have their own personal property where they are able to display whatever they want, and the church requesting this isn't even in Lock Haven. Second, you had a community member tell you the stances of the group asking for this, yet some of you chose not to listen. The Concerned Women for America is first and foremost a lobbying organization that pushes a conservative agenda to remove the rights of women and LGBTQ people, as well as force the ideals of the Christian religion on Americans. If this was a true faith month, they would have chosen a more inclusive flag with space for all religions practiced in America instead of just the Christian religion. Flying this flag for the purposes of faith month, no matter what this flag means to you as an individual, shows that we as a city are endorsing this group and their stances. I am incredibly disappointed in members of this council who chose to vote yes on this use request, and I implore them to rethink their stance and reopen this for a vote again.
Anyone else?
I just want to make a correction to the comments by Bill Stankiewicz. He does not represent the Christian community. Okay, there are many Christians here that you do not represent. I appreciate your comments, but you don't represent the Christian community.
Anything else?
Are we gonna address the information that we got today at all?
I was planning, but
If you would like to do that, I can fill in, or I could go and then you.
you go ahead, Mo.
All right, Phil, are you a member of CWA?
No, sir, obviously, the CWA is a concern of women's organization, and I am therefore not qualified.
Okay, thank you. So let me just read off some things here. As you know, I'm a phys ed teacher. If I wasn't a phys ed teacher, I'd probably be an art teacher or a history teacher. I love history. I'm also a doctor, so I also love facts. So I'm gonna give you a little history lesson and do some facts information here. We've got some information today, meaning the council did. And I'm just gonna give some information with that, because I think it's very pertinent to where we're at. The city of Boston has a plaza. Boston, Massachusetts has a plaza where they're permitted various groups in connection with events being held on the plaza near City Hall to raise a flag on a designated pole for the duration of the event. Much like the members of the council enacted last year when council voted to allow the LGBTQ to put a flag in Triangle Park in June 2023. Triangle Park has been used by various groups over the years. No one group or individual has been discriminated against from putting up their free speech materials at the park. The flag request by the LGBTQ and the city council's approval of which I believe was the first public free speech request to use the American flagpole at the Triangle Park. I could be wrong, but that's what to my best of my knowledge. Prior to this, the Lock Haven city government held the right to the flag by only flying flags they gave approval of via the government body, meaning POW flags, and such. And with no outside organization or individual request permission to have their flags on the pole. Triangle Park is a close clone representation of the plaza in the city of Boston. Flags were flown at Boston's plaza, and the Boston City Council voted on whether they would accept them or reject them from being flown on the flagpole. The city of Boston at the time of the vote did not have guidance or guidelines or policies in place by which they would justify how they would come to the conclusion as to how they would allow or disallow a private group or individual, in case of Bill's case right now, the right to exercise their freedom of speech. All things were good in Boston until Christians wanted the same right to exercise their freedom of speech. The Christian group asked to have a Christian white flag with a blue square and a red cross was asked to be flown at the same flagpole others were allowed to use. The same cross flag Bill Stankiewicz asked to fly here in Lock Haven. Swissdale Church is the insurance on the crosses. That's why their name is on there for the crosses, because they're the ones that are insuring the crosses in case if there is damage. To clarify that. The Christian group was denied in Boston. Thus, the Christian group sued the city of Boston, and the ruling went to the Supreme Court of the United States. In Shutliff versus City of Boston, the ruling stated a government cannot exclude private religious speech. Let me rephrase that. The ruling stated the government cannot exclude private religious speech on the basis of the viewpoint expressed by Boston was viewed to have violated Shutliff's rights under free speech clause of the First Amendment. Unlike last week, Bill Stankiewicz proposed the same Christian flag to be flown at Triangle Park. The council voted 4-2 to allow Bill to exercise his public right and freedom of speech, just as it did with the initial public request made by the LGBTQ group in June 23. This sounds very familiar to the Sheffield versus City of Boston with one exception. Lock Haven Council said Bill has the same right as other individuals to exercise his freedom of speech, even if his freedom of speech is of a religious nature. Boston did not give the same approval to Christians as they did other groups. And the Supreme Court of the United States ruled against the city of Boston. Boston lost. After the pride flag flew in Triangle Park for the month of June, the council adopted resolution 2023-14 a couple of months later, of which I voted no. I said at that time, once we open it up, we'll open it up to everybody. No, I don't want a Nazi flag. No, I don't want a frog flag hanging up on Triangle Park because people like frogs. But because we open it up to one, we cannot discriminate versus others. That's why we have allowed other organizations at Triangle Park to put everything and anything on there as far as I can remember.
Hey,
Hold on, I'm not done.
Yes, floor.
Resolution, let's go back to here. Resolution 2314 states from time to time, individual residents, businesses and residents, nonprofits can make requests to city council to fly a flag below the US flag in Triangle Park. It does not state what type of flag can be flown, but allowing citizens living in the city the right to exercise their freedom of speech to hang a flag below the American flag. Resolution 2314 reiterates, however, that from time to time, we're allowed to do that. Anybody coming in, businesses, the residents, nonprofits make requests to city council to fly a flag below the US flag at Triangle Park and states that Resolution 2123 provides opportunities for those to make requests to city council to fly a flag in a nationally recognized month, continually to do so. In Shutliff versus City of Boston, the ruling stated a government cannot exclude private religious speech on the basis of viewpoint expressed. Boston is found to have violated Shutliff's rights under the free speech clause of the First Amendment. Had the council voted no on the agenda, item 4C, use of Triangle Park, Easter installation by Bill Stankiewicz and the Swissdale Church, Lock Haven would have violated Bill Stankiewicz's freedom of speech as ruled by the Supreme Court of the United States by acting in the same manner as Boston when they rejected the freedom of speech to the Christians and approved the LGBTQ group to fly their flag. Regardless of how one feels about the ruling of the city council decision, the Supreme Court has made it recently clear that the vote last week was the correct legal decision that we made.
I have a couple questions. As far as I am aware, no other flags beyond the pride flag have been individually approved. As part of the ordinance, we approved Women's History Month, a Lenape flag, Black History Month, some other nationally, federally recognized flags. And in the ordinance, we say we will approve nationally recognized months. Faith Month is not nationally recognized. They've been trying, but the Congress will not nationally recognize it because this group is a lobbying political group that is pushing for this month. It does not represent Christians. It represents this group, and that is the issue, is this is not nationally recognized. It's not a federally approved flag. And since we have an ordinance in place, we will win that
Policy
way.
is not an ordinance. We didn't
Well,
pass
it's
it.
policy, it's a resolution.
resolution.
A resolution, right, it's not, no, normally. it's-
Yeah, it's a very resolution.
All right. I don't usually comment that much. But after the week that I've had, I feel I need to. I understand why people were upset. But I feel the need to explain the reason for my vote. We were asked to put the Christian flag up, the official Christian flag designed in the 1800s. Accepted as the official flag in 1942. It was not by that organization, it was by a local church whose resident lives in our city, which is part of our policy. And I understand there's a group out there that's hijacked this and used this for nastiness, but to me, being a Christian is about loving people. That, you know, love thy neighbor, love thy enemy. I think that's Matthew 5:4. I don't care what I am disgusted by what that group wants to do, but I don't feel that represents all the Christians that are out there. I apologize for those of you who took it the wrong way. That wasn't my intent. I argued with so many people over the last 3 years over the rainbow flag, defending it. And I defended it because I told them that Lock Haven is a place that we want people to know that we don't care who you love, what color your skin is, who you worship. If you're gonna come here and be a good citizen and follow our laws, you're welcome here. And to me, that meant Christians, Jews, Muslims, gay, straight, black, Hispanic, didn't matter to me. So I was using the same principles that I used to vote for and defend my decision on the rainbow flag. That being said, anybody who wants to open up the policy, I'd be happy to go back to saying, we're just gonna put the government flag up there and end all this stuff. Because it's been not fun over the past week. I thought we were trying to do things that were positive. And I do know that there is a group out there that isn't positive about it. That wasn't my intent.
I do think, Your Honor, that this is an opportunity for us to revisit our policy. That we should direct the city manager to look into the policy in light of the information that Dr. Brinker presented, and that we ask the city manager to have the city solicitor review the policy at this point in time, come back to us with something that's tightened up, that is more clear cut and lays a groundwork that we are more specific and clear in a guideline for the city and for what flags fly. And if that means, and when we had this discussion, we argued around a bit about the discussion of what flag should fly. And one of the things that was proposed was that the flag of the United States, the state of Pennsylvania, and the city of Lock Haven be the only 3 flags allowed on that pole. If that's what the solicitor comes back to us and says those are the things that are supposed to, are all we can fly, then that's that. But I do think we need clarification on what that exactly represents and what our policy is in a much more clear and concise manner. That's my opinion. And I think we should direct the city manager to move in that direction.
So you're making a motion to that, because that would be a motion to reconsider that policy.
I'm not in a position to.
No, we can't do that now.
No, you can make a motion to direct me to do something it doesn't cost.
All right, you want to make that?
I'd like to make a motion that the city manager contact the city solicitor in light of the information we've received, and that we look at the city's policy regarding flag flying in Triangle Park.
The resolution.
A resolution, yes, I'm sorry.
Do I have a second? A second.
Second.
I have a motion floor and a second. Any further discussion? I do want to make clear that our solicitor did advise us that he felt that we would be in a bad position if we reversed the decision. And I'm not an attorney, and I didn't spend the night at the Holiday Inn Express, so I won't question him. Call for the vote, please.
Are they allowed to, since they were dissenting votes?
This is the policy, the resolution that they were in favor of. So this is.
Going back to the original one.
Yes,
Yeah.
go back to revisit that
Right,
policy.
not this,
Not
not
the
the decision,
flag.
that decision.
That
can
decision's
play
been
right-
made.
it's already
Okay,
there now.
yeah, it makes sense then.
Yeah, let's revisit our policy on flag flying, and then we eliminate a lot of this for the future.
You wouldn't have been able to make it if you voted no, but they
Correct.
did vote yes on that issue, so she can do that. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I have
Yes.
a question, just to be clear. So the Swissdale Church really didn't put this forward or endorse it. They're just protecting their property with insurance. So there is one man presenting this request, or has presented this request, which was approved, saying that it represents all of local Christianity, but it's only one man asking for faith money?
This is the request.
Okay.
It says, Bill Stankiewicz and Richard Wallace of the Swissdale United Methodist Church are requesting blah, 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 blah.
But didn't Dr. Brinker just say that they were?
That was the purpose of Swissdale being on there.
Right,
Pretty
so
endorsed, right?
that isn't necessarily embracing the request, is it?
Correct. And if you look, I'm assuming behind you, there are people that are definitely supporting living in a
Wow.
city, his request.
I would have loved to hear responses from them, actually, I really would.
So that's.
Well, let's act on this.
Yeah.
Motion that's on the floor, since that's actually a separate.
Okay, thank you, I just wanted to clarify.
Okay, anything that has to do with the actual motion of revisiting policy or the
Resolution.
resolution, thank
Does
you.
anybody have any questions about what we're doing right now? Do you understand what we're voting on and why we're doing it?
I do not.
All right, so the motion was made so that we would, go back and revisit the original proposal to allow anybody or any organization to put a flag up there. And we would be looking to see if it's just the American flag, POW flag, and the state of Pennsylvania flag that would hang on that flagpole. Because we had discussed putting a separate pole at that time for other entities of such nature, whether it be the Christian flag or another flag of a group that wants to put something up there. So if we vote yes, we will go back to revisiting the initial 2314 proclamation that enabled Bill to come forward and bring this to council, much like Boston. Boston did not have a set, this is what is in play of what flags can be flown, what flags couldn't be flown. So whenever somebody brought up, well, you pick this flag and you pick that flag, and well, we don't like that flag, but we like this flag. That's whenever we now start becoming discriminatory. Who do we say that your flag is worthy and your flag is not worthy? That's why Boston got sued. Because they're letting everybody but the Christian do hang their flag. So that is what we're doing there.
Right, this is about going forward. How would we address requests from there, this particular motion?
And it's not necessarily going back to only the US flag. We could further.
We could look at
define
other things
and
as part of
say
this
that we
process.
only will allow federally recognized flags celebrating nationally recognized months
Perhaps.
to move forward, because then we can continue to honor the good
We
disclosure.
could-
Tell you that I won't be.
We can do anything of a dozen different things, so.
But we're gonna seek the advice of our attorney, where the city manager will seek the advice of the attorney, will develop a new resolution.
Who did give two alternative
Yes.
policies, so I'm sure he'll write those up as well as, obviously, no policies.
Nothing is perfect.
Okay, so we're clear on that, everyone's clear, any other questions or comments? Yes, please.
I'm kind of confused because this flag is to be raised in April to recognize Faith Month, which is quite definitely an initiative by the CWA. But I'm not understanding why that's no longer being associated with this.
Because one of the 4 positive votes would have to make a motion to reconsider that specific decision. This has nothing to do with that decision. This has to do with going forward.
I understand that, but what I'm confused about is how the CWA's Faith Month came into this law.
Because Faith Month was brought up last year, and I Googled it. That's how it came up. And Faith Month was established by the CWA.
So who was the member last week that was from the CWA that was in support of this?
It's not here.
Right, but they were not a part of the.
We're not part of the request in here, this is not this. Bill Stankiewicz, Richard Wallace, and the Swiss Daily United Methodist Church.
So it's not a CWA request.
The request
Faith Month
does
was
state.
designed
Faith
by
Month in it.
CWA.
Correct, but this was not a CWA request.
I do have a question on that. Where did this Faith Month proclamation come from? That is attached to the use request. That was sent to me from Bill. Where did you get it from, Bill? Where did you get this Faith Month proclamation from? This reads like something an organization wrote.
I was following the needs of the request for flying the flag as a result of the point that there was no flag being flown under that flag at that point. And it was my understanding that it was my understanding that, the month had been declared, Faith Month, by federal proclamation, but I stand corrected in regard to that.
So do you know where this proclamation came from? What organization wrote it?
The federal government, as far as I know, I really don't know what organization requested that or put forth the idea.
And so we're clear, we did not address that at all. That was not.
That's not part of it.
Not part of this motion.
I know, I just wanted some clarification since we were talking about Faith Month. I
Yes.
just wanted to know where that.
Okay, so we still haven't voted because we kind of keep getting deferred. Let's take a vote on this issue.
Councilmember Alexander.
Yes.
Councilmember Brandon.
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. Okay. All right, 4B, Harder Charities. Oh, Mr. Harder.
Good evening.
Sorry for this delay. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council. I just wanted a couple quick things to get you up to speed on Veterans Park. We're moving forward with, construction as soon as the weather breaks. Unfortunately, we have a 30% increase since the start of this, so I'm hustling some more money. I had given Greg some information. I don't know if you all.
Yes.
had.
Yeah, thank you.
So actually three items. One would be the flagpole. With, the American flag on it, it's gonna get moved across the street with your approval to be put with Corman Amphitheater, so we still have that big flagpole in the skyline against the courthouse. I thought it was only fitting instead of just going away with it or taking down the Piper. I think it's a part of our skyline and I'd like to keep it even if it's across the street. I just need to work with somebody that we can put it in a location that's not in the way or in a utility trench or something of that nature. With that, go ahead, Steve.
I forget what your plans, I remember looking at them, you have no flagpole, we had.
Yes,
The
but
new
they're
part?
the highest standards, the American flag at 35 feet.
Okay.
The rest of them will be at 30 feet. That flag has to be 50.
Yeah.
High enough to be seen in the amphitheater.
Yeah, so when you have an event at the amphitheater, you would be able to have the national anthem and be able to see the American flag. You would not be able to see our flags in that event. They'd be too low because of the dike.
Well, these are the two proposed sites that you're looking at to put that flagpole.
The other one would be to move David Collins'
Oh, the other call
flag at the bottom of the ramp where you go up to the amphitheater.
over here.
Correct.
Then the flag would be the one here in the middle.
Yeah, maybe behind that stone monument or to the side of it. I just have to see if there's utilities in there or if the flood authority has any issue with where it be in the way.
I was gonna say you need to push it on to the flood authority, because that
I'll reach out to Rich Marks and Cabby.
pretty much, you can get it on that agenda then too,
Okay.
for you.
Can I ask a quick question, just from a policy, just from a procedural standpoint, does that pool belong to the city or to the county?
City Park.
Why not? The city cannot own countywide monuments. So I don't have any history on it, but my guess is someone donated it at some point.
Okay,
So if it makes,
I just want to make sure they didn't want it over in front of the.
no, they're not getting it.
Okay.
I'll just tell her, so it's not getting it. So to make you all feel better, the county will have the perpetual care. They've already agreed to that. I have them in minutes saying if somebody does something to a monument or that becomes a disrepair, they will fix it, not the city. So you're not on the hook for
No, I
any.
was just, I thought that the pool would, of course, I'm not old enough to remember either thing, but I thought the pool was the county's, I apologize.
And the third item would be adding one more plaque to another veteran up at Lock Haven University where the bike parking ramp and the little parking area I would like to keep that secret. I can give you the name. I don't know if
I wouldn't do that because you're live on camera.
right. So it's kind of a surprise to him, but it goes let's just say so when you go on the dike, you'd start at one end and see veterans to the other end.
Yeah,
A little
you go all the way-
inspiration when you get up on the dike, maybe, work off that doing it.
If you go all the way down to Memorial Park, there's Tobos Bridge.
Yeah, Tobus is on one end, Dave will be in the middle, and this gentleman will be on the far end. No cost to the city, we just need approval to set it there, just be a small concrete pad. It's easily removable if there was any construction needed and replaced. Once again, no cost to the city, that will come through my charity. And we'll place it in the time in the future, once it's done. I can even give you a rendition, maybe just so you guys can see it, what it will look like, but it'll have the same theme.
Similar in style and size to the others.
Yeah, it will be the same size, it's a pretty plaque.
That's nice.
I guess the last thing I didn't, when I thought about it afterward, Greg, was that tree that's in Veterans Park. I didn't know if there was any reason to keep it. I'd like to take that tree out and replant a cherry. We had a beautiful cherry there. I'd like to replace that with a cherry instead of that. I don't know, it's right against that house. It's kind of dirty and we're gonna have the fountain there and it drops a lot of branches and leaves and stuff. So I thought a nice
Easier to
cherry.
maintain? Would it be?
Yeah, it would be shorter. I mean, a full maturity would be 20 feet. And it bloom with that beautiful cherry blossom in the spring. It'd take a while.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll probably be dead before I get to But that's the three items I have. It is, any questions about Veterans Park, feel free. The main art feature is in Kentucky being cast. I expected it in February. We had a small delay. But the main art feature is coming back. It's pretty impressive. I can't wait to unveil it because it's. And really, yeah. I don't know if I showed it to you. Should, yeah. I just want to keep it a surprise for everyone.
Nice.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Harder about the request?
Other than we can't grant the request for the tree removal this week.
So. You cannot. Even though it's not gonna cost any money.
Right.
Because it would change a feature in a park. We'll just put that on the agenda next week.
Okay.
But the other three are some items council can take action on tonight.
Yeah, and once again, it's at no cost to the city. Everything's been donated to me. I expect another big donation coming. In the next 2 weeks. That maybe fill in the gap finally and I can get moving. I couldn't pace the inflation. I mean, it started with $50,000 for the plaques that we're gonna put there and they're $100,000 now. So it's been mind numbing, but.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
Well, thank you for your effort, and I don't see any reason why we shouldn't endorse these requests on the approval of the authority, as long as there's nothing wrong with what the authority also given their stamp. It's also all the request.
Motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? Thank you. Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Alexander.
Yes.
Councilmember Brandon.
Yes.
Councilmember Bricker.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
I just want to thank the city and the council and the mayor. You guys have been great. Everybody's been great to get this project done. It's been since 2016. Get tired. I'm gonna see it through. You did all the work. That's why I'm great now.
Yes, it's not your age, it's not your age old, it's.
Hey,
Thank you. Good evening.
Yeah. Started this. I know it was darker, a lot darker than this.
Okay, Bonnie Kephart. It's your turn.
First of all, I'd like to say, on video, so you know what I'm talking about.
Has anyone not seen the video?
Has anyone not seen the video of the dog attack?
I can
I've seen it.
kind of see it.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Watch kids.
Oh, no. Have you seen it?
Charlie, can you come get this door?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. I didn't see it.
It's disturbing, yeah. Like I don't remember to see it.
No, I didn't see it. I believe it happened. I don't follow social media a whole lot, so I'm probably fine.
My daughter's two girls.
Oh, really?
There's missing.
Let's try to load it.
There, so for everyone in the audience that is not aware, Bonnie's dog was attacked on South Fairview Street. There is the video on the internet of this attack. That's what she's showing to Mayor Long right now. It is a disturbing video. I would not go search it out if I were you. A neighbor's dog to Bonnie jumped their fence and attacked her small dog. And, extensive vet bills and all that kind of stuff, so. Yeah.
And here comes the dog. No.
It's fun. Yeah.
Probably make that bigger. You really don't want to do it.
I was gonna say,
I know it's bad.
I have seen it, I do not.
I can only watch it.
I understand it's bad.
I watched it once on
It's bad.
accident.
It's bad, I get bad. Right here, don't watch it again, I understand it's bad.
Yeah, that is the thing that, you know. That's my God. That's God.
Anyway, and then you can see it changing.
Yeah.
That poor people on there, they throw out
can and drop eventually. Yeah.
Well, they have time.
Go ahead.
Everybody has seen the video. I'm here at city council to administer a solution for loose or stray dogs running through our communities. First, I would like to thank all the people who supported me through this dramatic and stressful time of my life. My son who came to stay with me, my daughter who put all the vet bills on her credit card, and a wonderful neighbor, Ryan Smith, who started the GoFundMe page, brought me coffee and donuts and much needed comfort. My grandson Kyle, who helped change her bandages and administer her pills. Andy Mihalchek.
Yeah, from WBRE, came and did, I don't know if any of you guys watch the news. It was on the news there. It's on their YouTube channel, PA homepage, I think. And she has to, this never should have happened, as this dog was seen running loose many times in our neighborhood. It was also reported on Facebook that Brittany Meyer's dog was also attacked by this same pit bull. Her father was walking her dog past Jack Moore's residence, whatever, here in Lock Haven. This pit bull jumped the useless fence and attacked her dog. After a while, the owner, Jack Moore, came and called out to the dog, and the dog did not respond. Jack had to tackle the pit bull to stop the attack. So she wants to see, and a lot of people up on the hill there, we wanna try to get the laws changed a little bit on how they handle a dog that has been, you know, attacking another dog, human, whatever. But, she has here that, I don't know who I want to face, can you guys hear? She'd like to see like these animals, when these are attacked, taken into possession. Because this dog was actually put back into the same situation where it got loose. So it was right back in that same spot.
Nothing can change.
And we don't want to see something like that happen to someone else, you know, dog or human. So we'd like to try to do something to have, when this happens, when that dog is apprehended by the owner or the police or whoever happens to get the dog, have it sequestered somewhere, you know, where it can't get out. Like, it's like, I don't know, the SPCA just comes to mind or something like that. Have a kennel there, you know, for these dogs, and have those dogs there, one, so they can get evaluated to see if, you know, they're a vicious dog or what, you know, something like that.
And if their license are updated, their shots.
Right, you know.
My vet couldn't get a hold of them to see if it's shots.
Well, I didn't want to go down and ask him if the dog had his shots, you know, because that's like, you know, I didn't want to get like involved in that. So we didn't know until just recently that it didn't have its shots and wasn't licensed. So I had to take Missy back down to the vet to get a booster rabies shot, because just to be safe for her. Because he hadn't had shots since 2016, is what we were told. But anyway, you know, we would like to see if there's some way to have these dogs put in a kennel, you know, have it evaluated until like the charges are brought, everything's done, you know, they paid their fines or whatever. And then, you know, if the dog's evaluated and it can go home, you know, that, you know, there's a fence, a secure place to put the dog. Because this dog was in a fenced area, but it was just like a wire fence, like.
And it was been all over at the top, how many times it's been over it, it was an 80-pound pit bull.
Right, so, just to have the dog, you know, if something happens like this again, the dog is in a secure place, that it can't happen again.
Well, what I'd like is I'd like the city council to have every trooper have a lasso harness, capture a dog, any dog that's running loose, wild in our yards or in the street or whatever. Have a collapsible kennel put in the back of every car, every police car, the dog put into that kennel, take it over to the SPCA and pay for a designated kennel for a loose dog to be put into till we see the owner and to see if it's got its license and to see if it's got its shots and to see where it goes. I just don't think it should be left go back to the owner. I'm hoping that the city can afford at least a designated kennel for every car, police car, so that when these loose dogs, we don't know if they're vicious or not, can be put in, taken to the SPCA, and then the owner has to come and get them from the SPCA. That's what I want city council.
Well, I guess I would defer to the city manager and the chief on where our line, what we can and can't do.
Really depends, there's a state dog law, and we can't make any alterations to that or exceed the authority of council or any municipality under the state dog law. That's enforced by the dog warden. The city's dog warden used to be with the SPCA. He left there, and now the dog warden is in Center County.
Yes, I've talked to her several times.
And the other thing would be to review what can be done with the local ordinance, which, like, for example, the state law says that a dog must be under control, but the local ordinance, the state gives council the ability to state that a dog has to be leashed, which is what our ordinance does say. And, you know, things like whether or not an animal has its vaccinations or its license is something that is discovered during any police investigation. And then that is submitted as part of the paperwork with the criminal complaint.
But the police can't confiscate the dog, put it in a kennel in a police car, take it over to the SPCA, lock it up so the owner can't come and get it until we see if it has its license and it's shot. I don't
Not
know.
today, no.
Oh, yeah, they can't do it today.
I
but they
know,
can-
but can you change it so that,
I can't say yes or no to that. That's something I'll have to discuss with the solicitor. Because some dog laws are state laws and the city has no authority to make it.
I don't understand that. I've seen the state laws and
I
the,
think she just wants to, you know, make it aware and see what you can do, if there is anything that you can do to change, just to change the process a little.
That's something that you can check on.
Yeah.
Just about, see what we can do
Right.
and how much it is we could.
I certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Casey, you want me to read the next one for you?
I can present it.
Item 4D, use of Zendel Park for dumb wedding.
Some dummies in love. The Director of Community Life is asking on behalf of resident Casey Campbell if, Zindel Park would be able to be used on September 21st for a small wedding ceremony. I will personally ensure that the rules and regulations are followed and all necessary paperwork is turned in.
I will add, with my director hat on, it is the day of the Boulder Beast, but I've talked to the director and not that you guys care, but so,
It's good enough.
Different times of day.
yeah.
I want to move that request.
And a second, any further discussion?
Wow, that was quick. The vote hasn't been taken yet. I think.
Yeah, it's true. You might not get a majority.
I know.
Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Alexander,
Yes.
Councilmember Brannan,
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker,
Yeah.
Councilmember Conklin,
Yes,
Councilmember Missouri,
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson,
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. Any other? Anything else under, public requests?
I had nothing, Your Honor.
Okay, unfinished business, number 5A, notice of 2024 distribution, liquid fuels tax.
Originally, the city received an estimate of $224,955 as the amount it would receive from state liquid fuels tax. That actually comes in slightly higher, 227,000. Slightly higher is always better than slightly less. And 50% of that is set aside to help cover street wages and snow removal costs for the general fund.
Any other unfinished business?
I had none.
New business, 6A, consideration of resolution number 2024-07.
Every year, the city of Lock Haven makes a request to Clinton County for $4,000, which is the estimated portion of the Route 220 and Palmac Boulevard interchange lighting agreement share for the county.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion floor and a second. Any other questions, comments? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Alexander.
Yes.
Councilmember Brandon.
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Mayor Law.
Yes. 6B, 2024 capital improvement plan review.
Well, hold on to your hats, people. So, just this evening, we're, just handing out for water capital improvements. As people are aware, we have improvements that are almost complete at the old dam. That final completion has been moved to mid-June of this year, but that will be completed this year. There is the supplemental water well and pipeline project, and then Keller, as part of a lot of this. There, of course, was the cost of the emergency water source, land acquisition for the wells, and there was also $45 million in recommended improvements that came as part of the hydro study that the city authority paid for. In addition to that, the city still owns and has in place, although it is fully open, the Upper Castania Dam, which does need to be breached and removed. So part of what we're doing with the Public Utility Commission application is to make an application using a PennVest surcharge. So the application would be for current operating costs, debt service, maintenance that is currently on the books. And that would be the rate that we would ask PennVest to help us cover with a rate increase. Then, as part of that ask, we would ask the Public Utility Commission that any future PennVest debt service be collected as a separate line item without having to go back to the Public Utility Commission and ask again. This is permissible under the law and has been used several times, not here, but has been used several times. So actually, if approved by the PUC, you'll see how much your individual debt service is because it's a separate line item on your bill. So you'll be able to see exactly how much of the $78 million in capital improvement projects your personal bill is helping to cover the cost of. Now, that's $78 million, $62 million is the estimate city share alone of that. City customers are in Castania, Wayne, and Lock Haven, and I think 24 in Allison. So obviously not an inexpensive undertaking, but it should also be noted that it isn't all being done tomorrow. So it will be over the course of the next 15 or more years, especially with the $45 million in improvements. While a few of those things can potentially be negotiated as cost share agreements with the filtration authority, the vast majority of them are city only. And since they aren't all kind of emergencies and highly recommended, some are lower level recommendations. it is possible to schedule these out over time. So with, Concord Public Finance, we put together three $15 million estimate PennVest borrowings that will be included with the Public Utility Commission application as, exhibits for what we, as a system, expect to be going to PennVest with. So that would be true of Keller, and also of the well and pipeline, which is, $5,525,000, I believe, off the top of my head, asked to PennVest. But that won't be approved until after the PUC rate increase is approved. So that would be at 2025 will be the first year to be able to access those funds at that school.
And how long will it be till we get our application to the city?
So I have a meeting again tomorrow. We meet weekly, Ralph Tellis, Eckert Siemens and I. And tomorrow I'll have a better understanding, but we're trying to get everything buttoned up in March.
Great. Thanks, Greg.
Okay, any other new business?
I know you're on it.
Yeah, we had the FYI reports the Station Gallery exhibit opening, and that looks interesting.
Yeah.
March 8th. And, guys, there's a concert at the university, spring concert at, so for any Wednesday, right? They did a very nice job. Does anybody else have anything to bring before council? Yeah.
I've been asked 10 times since the beginning of this meeting to ask council, those that voted yes on the flag, if you would reopen your vote. For those that said yes.
My answer is no.
Yeah. Anything else to bring before council? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
You do?